Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Set it and forget it.
Set it and forget it.
You just set it and forget it.
You just set it and you forget about it.
You just set it and then forget it.
Man, don't you just wish retirement planning was this easy?
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the WorryFree Retirement, with your host, best-selling author and fiduciary, Tony Walker.
Advertised on television by the same company who introduced to us kitchens appliances from around the world, such as the Vegematic, one of the most memorable of all was Ronco's Showtime Rotisserie Barbecue, which proudly proclaimed that all you had to do in order to cook a great meal each night was to set it and forget it. This little gem of an appliance, which incidentally came in the colors black and white, claimed to be able to cook with perfection just about anything that one could cram inside of it. Not only was the Ronco Showtime Rotisserie Barbecue easy to use, all that was required was placing the food, any food by that matter, inside, and presto, simply set it and forget it. Sounds a little too good to be true if you ask me, but since we're all looking for things to simplify our lives, let's for a moment imagine a world of perfect and easy cooking, one that would require no fuss, no muss, and no constant monitoring of your food. Just the advertised notion of setting it and forgetting it. My thoughts, wouldn't it be nice if there was a way to set it and forget it when it comes to our money in retirement? Well, welcome folks to the WorryFree Retirement. And yes, I am that little man in the sweater vest, set it and forget it specialist and fiduciary, Tony Walker. And before we show you how Tony Walker Financial will help you create a set it and forget it game plan with your money, let me introduce two of my favorite financial cooks in the kitchen today, America's favorite financial sidekick, Mr. Aaron Orander, along with America's most laid-back graphics artist, Mr. Derek Hudson. Okay, you got to admit that when it comes to the decision of what we're going to have for dinner each night, the thought of tossing any food item into something no bigger than a toaster oven and simply setting it and forgetting it is pretty appealing. It's a claim that may be hard to believe, but one that, believe it or not, the financial world makes every day. Whether it's their latest, greatest ETF, growth mutual fund, or target date fund, their best advice on when everybody is supposed to start Social Security is another one, or that perfect and seemingly too good to be true annuity being pitched over at the local free dinner seminar. The reality is this, folks, when it comes to the real world, as much as we'd like to simplify our money decisions by setting it and forgetting it, it's really not possible. Why? Because in the real world, we must always deal with that one thing that's right around the corner, the one thing that can greet us at any time, and it's called change. Nothing stays the same. Change of plans, change of family, change of needs, change of wants, and yes, even change in health all remind us that as much as we hope we can set it and forget it when it comes to our money in retirement, it's probably not going to happen. That's because the goofy ideas and products pitched by the financial world were never meant to be so perfect. You know what? What I've discovered in working with over 15,000 savers is that being worry-free is not always about financial products. Sure, I mean, that's part of it, but for the most things that we look at, the most important thing is, listen, who are you going to trust with your money, not just now, but long into retirement? So how does Tony Walker Financial do it? How are we able to help so many savers set it and forget it? And we do that with our 5-step process and crackerjack team of local service experts. So when I return, we're going to learn just how we do that. Good stuff coming your way. You're watching the Worry-Free Retirement. I'll be right back. Have you recently retired, been laid off, or offered a pension buyout? Has the company you work for moved, been acquired, or closed its doors forever? And finally, do you have a 401k with a previous employer you'd like to move to safer territory? Then take advantage of this opportunity to move your 401k or lump sum pension to Tony Walker Financial. Let's meet in person to discuss your retirement options. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com to schedule your free, no obligation appointment. Let us help you today.
And now, back to the Worry-Free Retirement with your host, Tony Walker.
This is my granddad, who after faithfully working for more than 4 decades with the same employer, called it quits in 1978. Talking about a set-it-and-forget-it retirement plan, he had one. You see, in those days, all you had to do was find an employer you could work with for a little while, maybe life, for instance, provide all those faithful years of service, and then in return, the employer would give you something called a pension, which was a guaranteed annuity that you could never outlive. My granddad called it mailbox money. You see, in those days, hardworking savers like my granddad had lived through the Great Depression and witnessed one of the worst stock market crashes in history. Those folks back then understood the value of a dollar and didn't like the thought of retiring knowing that one day all the money they had worked so hard to save could crash without notice. They knew the value of having a plan, that it was to set it and forget it, which my granddad did as he hung out on the front porch. There he is with me and myself there at Troy, Kentucky, and of course he collected his monthly guaranteed mailbox money. Yet the set it and forget it way of retiring for granddad took a turn for the worse in 1978, the same year he retired ironically, when the financial world, along with our friends in Washington, came up with the goofiest planning schemes known to man, something promoted by Wall Streeters. We know it as the 401k plan. And while the 401k plan may be a great set it and forget it way to save for retirement, it is absolutely the worst investment vehicle to plan in retirement. Not only do you have the tax tumor you got to deal with, you got all these hidden fees, and how to guarantee that you won't run out of money, you also have the worst part of all, the risk associated with the stock market that could wreck your retirement in a moment's notice. Don't believe me? Just ask someone who retired back in 2008 with all of their money in the stock market. Back then, if you retired during 2008, most of those people had to go back to work. And while you probably were willing to ride the roller coaster ride of the stock market while you were younger or still working, the thought of taking a major free fall in retirement like the one back in 2008 may be too much to stomach for savers who want to set it and forget it. Now, to demonstrate just how scary the stock market can be in retirement, I asked our own Derek Hudson to demonstrate a little roller coaster ride of the stock market just recently. In fact, let's take a look at this, Derek. Now, this is this year, 2021, and we're imagining April 30th, this was a fact, the Dow was out 33,874, and look, in just what was that, a week? It climbed to 34,077. But look what happened in just a few days. Wow. In just a few days, it dropped all the way down to 33,587. That's a roller coaster ride I'm not sure a lot of people want to experience in retirement. Oh, by the way, speaking of roller coasters and hanging on for dear life, did you hear about this guy, the roller coaster king? Apparently he was on for almost 4 or 5 days. Now, also, too, the article said he got to get off the roller coaster for bathroom breaks, so I don't know if that's a legit deal. But anyway, yeah, who likes roller coasters when you're in retirement? Notice this guy's a young guy, but to each his own, right? So, Tony, back to me worrying less about money in retirement and having someone there to help me meet all these changes you keep talking about. How am I supposed to pull that off? How can you plan to set it and forget it when you just admitted, Tony, that there's no product that can do that? Well, I'm glad you asked that question because really this is not about products, folks. This is about products within a process. So the key to a worry-free retirement, it is not always found in the products, but in our proprietary process. So let's take a look at what I call the 3 key elements to being worry-free in retirement. The first thing is you have to have a plan that can be monitored. In just a second, we're going to visit with our own Lisa Allerkamp to see how we at Tony Walker Financial monitor the changes that are going to come your way with this brilliant software we've created that is so adaptable. The next thing we have to have is we've got to have some safety of principle. Folks, if you're retired or nearing retirement, especially if you're a saver. You know, as the old saying goes, what got you there may not keep you there. You cannot continue to keep all this risk in the stock market. I know it's up now, but maybe that's now the time to really look at taking some of the winnings off the table and putting some safety into your process. And finally, as we just mentioned, this process has to be adaptable to change. So before you ever invest money with somebody, you got to make sure of these three things. You must ask this advisor, how are we going to monitor this? What is the game plan? How much safety of principle do I have? And finally, are you going to be there to help me deal with the changes that are surely going to come our way? So right now, let's do this. We're getting ready to go to Bowling Green, Kentucky via Zoom, and we're going to talk to our own Lisa Allerkamp to learn more about our proprietary software and how we at Tony Walker Financial are there to help you meet the changes that are going to come your way. Well, good morning, Lisa. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, Tony. I'm great.
Well, thank you for joining us. And our focus has been all the changes that come up with clients in retirement. So what are some of the issues that you see daily as you work with our clients in terms of our income planning?
Well, Tony, as you like to say, nothing stays the same. And our software was created with that in mind. It is flexible. So when our clients do experience life changes, maybe they decide to retire early or they need to retire early, or perhaps they've experienced the death of a spouse. Our game plan, it's a resource that they can use to assist them in considering different options of how much money and which accounts they can withdraw from safely.
And what would you say to people that say, well, I think I can try to just do this on my own, or I've got an advisor. We don't talk much about income planning, but why would I want you guys to help me, and what is it about this software? Why would I use you all versus just trying to go it alone?
Tony, a local firm that provides personalized game plans in addition to salaried fiduciaries that assist with decision making is just invaluable when you're faced with important decisions as far as where to withdraw money from. When our clients need to revisit their game plans, they'll find that our team is all on the same page. We can quickly pull up their personalized game plan and offer the feedback needed on their options.
Now, that is such a great point. And speak to that a little bit about how exciting it is that our clients realize that they've got a game plan that can allow them to use and enjoy their money now versus maybe putting it off to a day they can't.
Right. I think just the game plans in a whole, Tony, they just give a sense of comfort and relief to our clients that are in retirement, knowing they have that money available and they have the game plan that shows them the whole picture for their retirement.
And that is so true. So Lisa, we appreciate so much that you do and that you're so available to people who are currently clients that want to look at their situation, or prospective clients who are revisiting before they make a decision to go with us. So to have you on staff is just a wonderful blessing. We appreciate all your hard work.
Well, thank you, Tony. I enjoy doing the game plans for our clients.
I know you do. Thank you, and you have a good day, and I'll let you get back to work.
You too. Thank you.
You're welcome. Wondering how much money you'll need to retire? Probably a lot less than you think. I'm retirement specialist Tony Walker, and for the past 36 years, I've helped thousands of savers determine when to retire and how much money they'll need in retirement, and I can help you too. To meet in person at no cost or obligation, let me invite you to log on right now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or call the toll-free number on your screen. We look forward to talking with you soon. Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. Last week our theme was fishing, and last week we talked about, yes, my favorite son-in-law and how years ago he caught this whopper. Well, it seems like the fishing theme really caught on with our audience, because not to be outdone, we had this sent in from our own Keisha Hurst, actually in Bowling Green, Kentucky. I hate to tell you, Trey, I think this probably beats your whopper. This is a huge fish. Not sure what type of fish that is, but anyway. Well, guess what? Speaking of whoppers and fish stories, what if I told you right now there was a way for you to catch 6 whoppers, have nothing to do with fishing, by the way, all with no effort, no cost to you whatsoever. And what I'm talking about is something that's going to help you enjoy your money. Look at this. Over the last year, we've worked very diligently to come up with what I think are the 6 main topics in retirement planning. We have insurance planning made easy, investments made easy, mailbox money made easy, annuities made easy, 401k rollovers made easy, and retirement planning made easy. Now, folks, I have personally written and overseen the publication of all 6 of these booklets. This is 37 years worth of experience, 37 years of meeting with over 15,000 people. These booklets are going to help you on any topic. And here's what we're going to do. Normally, it's very expensive to publish these booklets. You can get these in one of 2 ways. They are absolutely free on the website. All you do is go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. You want to type in downloads and you'll find these 6 booklets. You can download them all absolutely free. Now here's the best part. I hold in my hot little hands, these are all 6 of the hard copies of the booklets. Now we just can't give these out blindly because again, these are very expensive, but here's what I'm going to do. For the first 20 people, I was going to say 10, Derek, first 20 people who email Gina at TonyWalkerFinancial.com, Gina at TonyWalkerFinancial.com, we're going to send you all 6 of the hard copy booklets absolutely free. And then when you get those, if you'd like to contact us and follow up, then we would be happy to do so. So again, the first 20 folks that email Gina at TonyWalkerFinancial.com, just tell her you want the hard copy books. Of course, make sure you provide a phone number and address. We promise we won't drive you crazy, but we do have to mail these to you. So we got to have a phone number, full name, and address. Okay. So, assuming you're sitting there thinking, man, I'd really like to be able to set it and forget it in retirement, Tony, and how do I do that? Well, we are a firm that is equipped to help you deal with that. And what we've said earlier was that all of these changes that come about in retirement, changes my granddad would have never worried about or experienced, are on the horizon here in the 21st century. So not only do we have the know-how to understand these changes, but we know how savers need to be equipped and how to equip themselves with the right products so that they can use and enjoy the money now while they still can. And with all the change we saw during the latest pandemic, one of the most interesting things is the change in the workforce and just how many baby boomers are retiring. Check this out. And this is really interesting because we say there's all these people turning 65. Well, apparently there's more and more people retiring, which is why you're hearing more and more about retirement planning and getting all these free dinner seminar invitations. Look at this. In the 3rd quarter of 2020, about I didn't believe this number at first, 28.6 million baby boomers who were born during that era decided to opt out of the workforce. No wonder the unemployment rate's a little high. That's 3.2 million more boomers than the 25.4 million who retired in the same quarter of 2019. So, to all those savers who are out there who I've met who decided to retire or seriously thinking about retiring, what's the point of all this? Well, the point is you better have a game plan in place that not only protects your money, as we talked earlier, but a staff that's set up to take care of all of the changes that come your way, to deal with all the taxes that we're worried about that are going to increase, and of course, to be able to use and enjoy this money while you still can. Of course, this is why I wrote the book, folks, Live Well, Die Broke. This is the whole point, and it's kind of catching on, this message I've been sharing for years and put into this book, that you better spend this money now while you still can. In fact, I was recently interviewed, this came out in the Wall Street Journal, myself and 2 other financial professionals. The title of this dealt with the whole idea of should people give some of their inheritance or all of it now to the kids versus waiting until you die. Oh, by the way, it looks like Derek pointed this out. We've had over, the Wall Street Journal's had over 11,000 likes on this. Well, why is that? I think it's because people are dying to hear the message of how in the world can we use and enjoy this money before it's too late. So you might say, well, Tony, how do you do that? And what is one way that you all can help me not only enjoy the money, but enjoy more of it? And that's through our split IRA process. So I'm going to go over to the whiteboard in the time remaining and share with you how much money in many cases we can save savers who are out here paying all of these fees and have no game plan to boot. Now what we did here, we used an example of the other guys, and this is an actual case I worked on, versus us. So in this example, we had a saver who had $500,000 getting ready to retire in a 401k plan and wanted to talk to us. So we took the $500,000, we laid out our plan versus them going to a money manager and leaving it in the stock market, which is where they have the money, which incidentally, they're nervous as a cat right now. So anyway, This particular money manager on the first $250,000 of assets charges an annual fee of 1.35%. Now that's compared to our annual fee of 0.8%, a huge difference as you'll see. On the next $250,000, they give you a whopping break, it drops to 1.3, that doesn't help much. So what I did, let me get my cheat notes. All I did was I calculated on $500,000 what would the annual fee be that they charge, and it's $6,625 per year. That's per year, folks, every year, whether you make money or not. Now in ours, since we in this case split it up, in this example we put $300,000 with our Charles Schwab platform. That's our process, that's our custodian. We pick the investments, we do all of it for you, all the distributions, all the planning. It's only 0.8 of 1%, which means on that block of money, it's $2,400 per year, but we also used a fixed indexed annuity and accumulation product that didn't have a fee, so zero fees there. So our total fees are $2,400 a year versus $6,625. And you say, well, Tony, what's that got to do with anything in my money? Well, let's multiply this over 20 years. In 20 years, you would have paid this money manager or this large financial institution $132,000. With us, you would have paid us over that same period of time $48,000. Now, and that doesn't include something called lost opportunity costs. See, here's the problem, and you'll never know this unless somebody calculates it like we can. This amount of money, the $132,500, not only do you lose that, but you lose all of the growth and the interest it could have made versus the 48. So in actuality, this $132,500, and this is something we're going to talk about next week when I get into the rippling effect of money, this cost continues on. Why? Because this is money that is gone forever. All of the interest you could have made, gone forever. When you die, all this money that could have been passed on to the kids, gone forever. So if you don't think these fees matter, you've got another thing coming, and we want to try to help you understand what these fees are. Taxes, fees, insurance premiums, all these costs that nobody's talking about. We at Tony Walker Financial want to attack those costs, and the reason we want to attack the cost is so we can put more money in your pocket. So if you don't have anybody that's really, you feel like is in your corner, a fiduciary that you can trust, a local advisor with a crackerjack team of staff that's there to serve your needs, why not? Why don't you do this right now? Why don't you log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Let's click on that Let's Get Started button and have a conversation. There's no cost or obligation, and we'll be happy to share with you in more detail how we might be of help to you. It's TonyWalkerFinancial.com, or call the toll-free number on your screen. Well, what does the Bible have to say about this notion of set it and forget it? Jesus has 3 powerful words that you're going to want to hear, but first, I got to get me a cup of coffee. I'll be right back. With the stock market at all-time highs and our nation's debt through the roof, there's a lot of uncertainty out there. Now may be the best time to safeguard more of your 401k. Let's get started today by logging on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
And now, back to the Worry-Free Retirement with your host, Tony Walker.
Set it and forget it. 5 famous words uttered by Ronco in hopes of changing the world's cooking habits forever, as they introduced the Showtime Rotisserie barbecue. Simple sayings and words used to describe what it is we want in life can be very powerful. Unfortunately, due to the inevitable changes that surely will come our way, things are not always that simple. Robert Frost penned in just 3 words his take on life, and here we go. It goes on. I love that. And therein lies the problem with living in the real world. Nothing is so perfect nor so predictable. All we can do when change occurs is the best we can, and sometimes, in the end, hope for the best. Yet change is actually a good thing, because in the face of change, this is where our faith in God will increase, and the faith and trust we have in the plans of goofy gadgets and gizmos of the world tend to fall apart. You see, some 2,000 years ago, a man hanging on a cross to die uttered 3 of the most powerful set it and forget it words ever spoken. And we find them in John, where Jesus simply says, it is finished. So what did Jesus Christ mean by it is finished? What is the it, and why did he have to finish it? Well, quite frankly, without any context of what these three words mean to us still grappling with the things here on earth, they mean absolutely nothing. Of this verse, though, the great evangelist Watchman Nee says this: the Christian faith begins not with the big do, but with the big done. In other words, you don't set and forget your faith with something you and I must constantly do, but rather we set and forget our faith on what has already been done, the death of Christ at the cross. His big done is the beginning of our big do. The it is the finished work he did so that sin would no longer have power over us. His death provided us life. His big done allows us to do what needs to be done in order to meet the challenges that we're surely going to face. Because of this finished work of Christ on the cross, we now, through faith, have the power to set it and forget it. The Apostle Paul reminds us of this power of the world and the sin that it comes over us, where in Romans 5:1 he says the following: therefore, having been justified means we are now innocent of all our wrongs in the eyes of God, having been justified by faith, we have peace with God through our Lord Jesus Christ. And that, my friend, is a set it and forget it way of life you can count on. Well, how about you? You might be saying, Tony, that sounds all well and good, but in the meantime, I don't have any faith in the financial world or faith in some of this stuff I've been investing in over the years. Can I meet with you to just review my situation to see if there's a better way to set it and forget it for my retirement? Well, if you're asking yourself that question, the answer is absolutely yes. And while I cannot guarantee that changes will not come your way, I can guarantee you that I will personally do everything I can to treat you and your money with the respect you deserve and provide a dedicated team of service professionals to always put your best interest first. So if you feel like you'd like to talk to me in person, there is absolutely no cost or fee whatsoever. We can do it in one of two ways. We can have a free 10-minute fiduciary phone call, or if it warrants, I'll be happy to meet with you in either our Bowling Green, Louisville, or Lexington, Kentucky offices. All you got to do is log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, TonyWalkerFinancial.com, and you're going to click on that Let's Get Started button. Or, if you like, you can just simply call the toll-free number on your screen, and we will respond to your phone call confidentially and to your needs immediately. Oh, by the way, don't forget, the first 20 folks that email Gina at TonyWalkerFinancial.com, Gina at TonyWalkerFinancial.com, will get this packet of all of the latest booklets I've written, everything you'll need to learn more about your options in retirement so you too can set it and forget it. Well, we hope you've enjoyed today's program. Next week, we've got an interesting show, and it's about the rippling effect of money. A really interesting show coming your way. But you remember, between now and next week, if all else fails, you be worry-free. Make it a good one.